I gave her. You see?
Way too.
So now that we've all started to digest the Switch 2 and everything that comes with it, I did want to talk about the Switch 2 a little bit more because, you know, we keep on finding out stuff about this junk. News keep on coming out. It's like, yo. So the reactions of this thing, I've seen both sides. I've seen, you know, the good and the bad. Some people even think, you know, that the Switch 2 itself is overpriced. I've seen people say that, like, $450 for a Switch or $500 if you want the Mario Kart bundled with it. The main thing that all people are like joining in unison with is what the freak is Nintendo thinking with these damn prices? Freaking Mario Kart World is supposed to be $80 just for the digital edition. Physical, I guess, is supposed to be $90. And even if you get the physical edition, it's not really physical. And then on top of that, I've seen other Switch games also be listed at $80. That's where everybody is joining in like unison, like, yo, what the freak is going on with what are these prices, and what does this say about the future of game prices, you know, going forward? You know, is GTA 6 gonna be $100? Is Sony gonna start, you know, trying to follow in the footsteps of Nintendo? What is Microsoft going to do? And then we have our great president, Donald Trump.
I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
If suckers already wasn't blaming the quality of their life and how bad the world is on Trump, well, sucker, now we got another reason. Now we got another reason because this junk is getting to video games now. I'm sure everyone has heard this by now, but Nintendo has delayed all Switch 2 pre-orders in the US. I think the pre-orders are supposed to start on April 9th, but it won't be starting in the US on April 9th. And this is because Trump's recent tariffs that he has imposed, you know, on the market. So, you know, when imported goods are, you know, coming to the US, the price is going to be higher. And because the Switch 2, I think, or just the Nintendo Switch, I think is manufactured in Vietnam and I think also China. If you thought the price of the Switch and especially its games was high because it's being imported from those areas, you know, it's going to raise the price of it even that much more. One of my viewers that actually sent me, shout out to Cage, that with these Trump tariffs, the initial value of the Switch is $450. With these Trump tariffs, the final value of this junk could be up to $600+, you know, with these Trump tariffs in effect. Going to the games, you know, with Mario Kart. Dog, listen, I don't know what you suckers do for work, but however this junk plays out in the future, you know, suckers, I mean, listen, if you didn't think that we was in a recession before, I mean, we're pretty much in a damn recession right now. It's just like, it hasn't officially been said we're in a recession, but we kind of are. We kind of are. Like, suckers got jobs and trying their absolute best to make it by, but we can't afford food no more. We can't afford to go out and have fun no more. Suckers can't even afford to live no more and freaking buy a house. So like, it's bad out here. But now it's getting towards video games. So now suckers got their eyes like wide open, like, yo, what the hell is going on? What the hell is going on right now? So with the Trump tariffs as well, with their games, if a Switch 2 game is supposed to be $80, with these Trump tariffs, they could be going up to $98 plus with these tariffs imposed. So to avoid that, I mean, you already see what's going on now with how people have reacted to the prices of these Switch 2 games. You add in these Trump tariffs on top of it? You thought suckers hated Trump before. You thought gaming was an expensive hobby before? It could get really ugly. So, you know, I guess to avoid that, Nintendo absolutely has heard and seen the reactions of people already. They like, oh no, what are these Trump tariffs as well on top of it? Let's cancel the pre-orders of the Switch 2 right now in the US. So we don't know when exactly you're going to be able to pre-order the Switch 2 in the US. You have the people that are outraged over what the freak Nintendo is doing right now and what does that mean for the future of video games. But you also have the people that's like either still saying that, hey, despite me disagreeing, I'm still buying the Switch. I've seen those of people like, yo, this is ridiculous, but I see y'all day one. I'm still getting my freaking Switch 2. Day of one, they are still hyped for this console. But you also have the people that I say are the Nintendo slaves, the Nintendo sheep, the suckers that are still like bent over backwards completely like, oh yes, Nintendo, take it from me. I've seen people in my comments on that video that I made just flat out cry more, you broke baby. Sony and Xbox suck and Nintendo has always been king. You have never been a Nintendo fan and barely tried any Switch games. Face it, Sony pony, Nintendo has been kicking your ass for decades. Learn more about inflation and how to run a business. Literally like, like, yeah, Nintendo, you like it when I stroke your cock like that? Yeah, Nintendo, you like it? Up here in Canada, we've been paying $90 for physical and digital, and we just had to take it. Now y'all know how we feel. Switch 2 is still a day one cop. Y'all will pay $100 plus for a GTA game, but when it comes to Nintendo, y'all call them crazy. The favoritism isn't... No, like the fact that suckers can't see the difference. You don't see the difference between a game like freaking GTA freaking 6 versus a game like, listen, and not even saying that if Rockstar was to do that they would be right for that. But you have to at least understand why people would be more open to paying $100 for a game like Grand Theft Auto freaking 6 versus a freaking Switch title. Like, are you freaking just stupid? Or like, if people was just, they kept on going. Sony charges $70 for remasters and remakes with missing content. Players' response, yes sir, may I have another? False, because suckers is always freaking on Sony's ass about how often they're doing remasters and remakes for games we don't even care about, so you're false there. Sony increases the price of PSN while providing nothing extra for the added cost. Players' response, yes sir, may I have another? Wrong again, suckers was pissed off by that, but at the end of the day, what the frick are we going to do? Stop paying for a PSN and playing the games online or move to PC? I don't know. Sony releases the Pro console with 0 new exclusives or reason to purchase with less consumer-friendly add-ons. Players' response, yes sir, may I have an... Like, the more he goes on, like, he's just going in on, like, you know, what Sony fans are willing to take and not take, and then all of a sudden, the outrage for Nintendo doing this is wrong. When literally Sony has been catching heat damn near the entirety of the PlayStation 5 generation. Like, but he thought he was cooking, he wasn't. I might get flamed for this, but if it's as good as the last Mario Kart game or better, it's absolutely worth it. People pay close to $30 nowadays when they go to the movies, and that's around 2 hours. You already know what type of comment this is going to be. Listen, I just don't, like, gamers have to make up their freaking minds. It just seems like sometimes gamers be straddling both sides of the fence. Like they be on the side like, yeah, gaming is way too expensive now, and like I ain't trying to pay I'm not trying to pay for DLC and skins and this and that and this and that. But then all of a sudden, when we really in a moment to where it's like, yo, gaming might get even more expensive. Now all of a sudden you got these contrarians that are coming out like, well, let's sit down here and think about it. Like, think about what? Think about what? Gaming is already more expensive and more greedy than it ever has been. Now to where we got a serious problem going on where now you truly have to question, yo, what is Sony going to do in the future? What is Microsoft going to do in the future? Now all of a sudden people are trying to like sit back and like defend this junk. Which is it? Like, cause gamers literally be like on both sides of the freaking fence, and it's like, do we even know what we want at the end of the day? Or like, are we just all on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and Twitch just like complaining, but still gonna, at the end of the day, take it up the freaking ass from all of these freaking devs and companies out there? That's really what it seems like at the end of the day. And if that's true, then I guess we're gonna have to get a stroked, but we gotta shut up and stop complaining about it at like the same time. We can't do freaking both. We can't. It's either we stand up and vote with our wallets and don't go out and support this stuff, or we freaking shut up, stop complaining, get a stroked by Nintendo, deep strokes at that, get stroked by Sony, Microsoft, and like all this fake outrage. Oh my God, I can't believe that. Shut up. Also, in typical Nintendo fashion, there is no OLED version of the Switch 2. People were kind of confused by that and scratching their heads. Cause it's like, I mean, you did a Switch OLED model already, so you mean to tell me the Switch 2 does not have a OLED version of this? So most likely they might have a Switch 2 OLED version in the future, just like they did with the Switch, and it would probably cost extra as well. But we talking at that point, what? It's gonna be $550 for for a Switch 2 with the OLED screen? Suckers willing to pay that? I mean, whatever, but at least it would be out there instead of waiting for a few years. So that was kind of questionable. The prices of the Joy-Cons, the camera, the games, they even charging. I didn't even know about this until I watched, I think it was MKB HD's vid. They are charging for that for like the demo game that they showed during their Switch 2 Direct, to where it's supposed to be like this a game you would play that like shows you all of the features, and like it gives you a tour of like all of the things that you can do with the Switch 2, but it's kind of in the form of like a demo game, kind of like Astrobot was on a PlayStation, where it shows you all of the features that the DualSense can do. Now, we know most times when they do stuff like that, the stuff is supposed to be free, and Nintendo has done it in the past before with like Wii Sports and stuff like that. Not this time. Not this time. They gonna charge you even for that. I don't know the exact price of it. I heard it's gonna be like up to $15 or $20, maybe it might be $10. But the fact that they're even charging for that, on top of like all the other stuff, like they charging for the camera and everything like that, which I'm not really shocked by that. But it just seems like with the pricing that they set the Switch 2 at, on top of the games, on top of the Joy-Cons being $90, on top of this freaking junk, it just seemed like Nintendo is out here to get their hands in your wallets. It just seemed like Nintendo ain't taking no passes. They like, oh no. When this junk drop, honey, I'ma need that money from you. I'ma need that money. And the battery life of the Switch 2 is said to be shorter than the battery life of the Switch 1, which I feel like is definitely crazy, because it's like, you would think it would get improved going from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2, but it said that the Switch 2's battery life is, based on what game you're playing, is going to be 2 to 6.5 hours of gameplay when you're playing on the Switch 2, versus on the Switch 1, it was 4.5 to 9 hours. So That's another thing that's like questionable. Like, yeah, the Switch 2 is going to be more powerful than the Switch 1, but at the same time, the battery life is decreased. Nintendo. That's another thing that was kind of a head scratcher for me. Listen, I'll say this. Right now, when it comes to me, at least, with the Switch 2, the only way I get this junk day one is if my viewers buy it. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. The only way I end up getting this junk day one is if my viewers buy it for me. And that's not like me saying like I want y'all to buy it for me or nothing like that, because I'm not that type of dude at all. But I have some like generous viewers. I have some viewers that like really like support me, and they be like, yo, when this game come out, like here's the money to stream it, gamer. And I'll be like, oh gee, thank you, sucker. So if you know Suckers is like, yo, we want you to cover the Switch 2 when it comes out, listen, if I'm asked to, I'll do it. But as far as and even then, I don't really want to, because it's like, again, we gonna sit up here and complain, all these YouTubers and streamers and people on Twitter and, you know, Instagram, whatever, that's complaining up here, talking about the Switch 2 and the price of his games, but then yet we go out and buy it. What the freak? Like, what are we freaking doing? But that is how I would end up getting it. As far as me going out day one, because the junk drops in June. June ain't far away at all. Before we know it, this month is going to be over, even though it just started. But June ain't far away at all. And pre-orders have been delayed in the US. So I honestly think, one, it's going to be very hard to get your hands on a Switch 2. Again, despite the outrage, whatever, it's going to be very hard, especially in the US, to get your hands on the Switch 2. And the few people that are able to get their hands on the Switch 2, you already know them scalpers are going crazy. Them are scalpers that get their hands on a Switch 2s. They're absolutely going to raise the price of this junk to like $900, $1,000 freaking dollars. You gonna have people just getting the Switch 2 because it's a hot item. Like, again, you have to understand the world that we live in and like the mindset, like the hive mentality of when it comes to stuff like this. People are still gonna go out and buy this junk in droves. Even though, again, I thought that Nintendo Direct, if you take away like the pricing and stuff, I was kind of impressed by the Switch 2. Like I didn't have high expectations for the Switch 2 because this is Nintendo that we're talking about, but I was impressed. The fact that, you know, the docked version of it, you know, you will be able to play some games at 4K native, and it has 120 frames per second, and they show the game chat thing where you can finally talk with people online. Like all that stuff. Like I was kind of impressed by the Switch 2. I was like, okay, and they have some games that I'm interested in, from Mario Kart World, take out the price, from Metroid Prime 4, and you can play that junk in 4K. I think what was it added? I think it was 4K 60 frames per second that you could play that game, or 1080p 120 frames per second. For Metroid Prime 4, sucker, I'm there. Then they showed the Donkey Kong game. They got the GameCube classics. Like, listen, they were showing some stuff for me with Switch 2. I'm like, hey, hold on. But then the pricing came into play, and I'm like, hey, hold off. So that's how I feel. But yeah, right now, out the gate, my money, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would literally get the Switch 2 strictly for content purposes, so I could do an unboxing, so I could give y'all my opinion of the Switch 2, showing the games and stuff like that, and that would just come from my viewers, because they coming from me in my wallet. So, you know, yeah, that's how I feel right now with the Switch 2. But I'll leave it at this: if y'all actually have a problem with the Switch 2 and what Nintendo is doing and the pricing of this stuff, and you're actually against this junk, you cannot be the same person that goes out and buy this junk. There's way too many people out there that be just yip yapping talking all this stuff crazy on the internet, and they just are talking so passionately about this stuff, but then these suckers go out day one and still buy this game, still see this movie, or still like support this person or support this company. Like, do you not look in the mirror and just see a clown when stuff like that happens? Like, at some point, you got to have some type of backbone to this stuff and not give in to temptation. So it's gonna be interesting to see, in these next few months, how people, start to feel about Nintendo and the Switch 2, and how successful this junk first is when it comes out, and, all that stuff, because, I understand the world that we live in, and despite people seeming upset right now, don't be shocked not one bit if it's hard to get a... It's going to be very interesting. These next few months, all of the stuff that goes on with Nintendo and the Switch 2, and once GTA 6 comes out, like, what's the price of that going to be? The future of video games, what Sony, what's Xbox going to do? Are they going to follow in the footsteps? Is the pricing of video games going to get even higher? Like, once all that happens, let's really see where gamers really are, because you have a whole bunch of people like, yo, I might be done with the gaming. This is it. All right, bro. All right, bro. Let's see what happens in these next few months, to end off this year, going into next year, stuff like that. Let's really see what happens. But it's definitely going to be interesting, and Nintendo has definitely made and shooken up the gaming industry with this recent Switch 2 Direct and the pricing and all of that stuff. People are going crazy about this thing right now, man. Right now, where do you stand with the Switch 2 and all the stuff that I just talked about? Y'all leave y'all comments down in the comment section below, man. Y'all let me know what you suckers is thinking. Till my next video, my brothers and sisters, I'll catch y'all boys in my next one. All right.